Hi guys, welcome back to Fragments of a Simple Life, where every video I make is super simple. Today we have a magazine. Now I know it's not Halloween, it's not October, but I like stuff that's a little bit creepy and weird all year long. I brought out my blanket for my daughter because I thought it kind of went with the theme of the day. If you don't like it though, please let me know and I won't use it again. But this is my birthday blanket. Like literally, it's an Aries blanket from I think my birthday last year. My daughter picked it out. She was very, very, very proud of herself. So that is what I decided to use as a background, just for something dark and mysterious. I really should have used it during Halloween. But this is abandoned places, the forgotten, frightening, and fascinating. It says in here we can find hospitals, places for healing turned upside down, ghost towns, what happened after the gold rush, and prisons, walls steeped in pain and suffering, which is sad. But they had this at my local grocery store, and I bought it a couple weeks ago, even though it's been months since Halloween. I thought with this magazine, instead of like skipping around all over the place, maybe we'll just start from the beginning, and then I'll use a post-it to hold our place. That's already kind of an eerie picture, huh? All right. We have some pictures to the left of some pretty old places. This looks like the middle of the desert somewhere. A very old church, I'm assuming. This looks like almost like a mission or something. That might be some sort of cemetery, actually. And then an abandoned truck at some old house or barn or something. I don't know. But I'm going to try not to read all of these so we could be kind of surprised. But I will read the introduction, of course. It says, "Frozen in time. Are you drawn in by abandoned places? You aren't alone. Objectively, an uninhabited house, building, or town sends out a pretty clear and often creepy signal that it's probably best to stay away. Why go exploring? There's nothing to see, right? It could be dangerous. And yet, for reasons that are hard to explain, we're instantly attracted to such places. Maybe it's curiosity, or excitement, or fear, but we have to know what's going on. We need to snoop around. We want to understand the story. Think about grand historic structures like the Parthenon in Greece. I don't know if I said that right. Or the Colosseum in Rome. These are classic tourist destinations, but also crumbling buildings from a distant past. There's beauty in what remains, and real renaissance in the power of such places to transport any visitor, like a time machine, to another era and way of life. We often say if these walls could talk, but the truth is that the ruins communicate something simply by existing. How do places become abandoned in the first place? What were the people like who inhabited them, or who built them? And why are some things, sometimes many things, left behind? Usually, our imaginations make up our own answers to these questions. The narratives we dream up can be so detailed and real that it can trick our senses to almost literally see ghosts. But with time and effort, it's possible to separate reality from legend. For every abandoned place, there's a story waiting to be told, and details to be discovered. On the pages that follow, we'll address the facts that built the legacies behind 22 abandoned places in the United States. Perhaps knowing the truth will make them a little less mysterious, but hopefully no less intriguing. Wouldn't that be cool if I did ASMR videos that were just about abandoned places? Tell me if you guys would watch that. Like if I picked an abandoned place, maybe even something like, one of these places, and I like did research and I like did an ASMR video and I like told you guys the whole story about abandoned places. I don't know. We'll see how this video does and you guys tell me. All right, number 1, Remington Arms. Wow, look at this. These are women and they're either making guns or making bullets. Looks like bullets. I'm gonna read this little red part right here. It says, Shell Company. 3 women are hard at work making cartridges at the Remington Arms munitions manufacturing plant during World War I, June 26th, 1918. Wow, that's crazy. So this location is Bridgeport, Connecticut, founded in 1867 and abandoned in 1988. It says the end of the Civil War sparked a gun run in the United States, with Americans racing to arm themselves to defend against domestic enemies. Okay, let's read it. It says, of course, once they got their guns, they needed ammunition. And that's how Bridgeport, Connecticut became the center of the munitions manufacturing world. In 1867, the Union Metallic Cartridge Company built its factory there to produce an array of guns, bullets, and shotgun shells. The grounds included an iconic 10-story, 190-foot tower that looked like a whiskey bottle and was the tallest building in the state at that time. It was also the centerpiece of a massive manufacturing plant. After Union merged with Remington Arms in 1912, the Remington campus consisted of 38 buildings situated on 73 acres of land. Wow, that's a lot. It was the largest munitions factory in the world, supplying arms and ammo to not only the US, but also to Great Britain, France, and Russia. It outlasted the Great Depression. It even survived a series of deadly accidents, including one in which 16 tons of gunpowder exploded. Holy crap. Causing damage all the way to Long Island, 21 miles away. Wow, that's crazy. Remington eventually diversified production at the factory, making clothing, typewriters, and household utensils, in addition to ammunition. Like, that's just funny to me. Like, here's like a spoon for cooking your soup and bullets. I don't know. That's funny. But ammo remained number one, which is why it was such a blow to Bridgeport when the company moved its munitions manufacturing to a new plant in Lonoke, Arkansas in 1970. The Remington Arms plant continued to churn out other products, but was eventually closed for good in 1988. The complex was too massive to destroy or completely repurposed, so for years it sat crumbling, an eyesore for the city of Bridgeport and an ever-present symbol of economic decline. And then the picture says, Superior Complex. After the Union Metallic Cartridge Company merged with Remington Arms in 1912, the Bridgeport factory consisted of 38 buildings and 73 acres of land. Wow. It's kind of sad, huh? It says, it became a well-known haven for squatters and crime, leading to constant patrols of abandoned grounds by the Bridgeport police. Finally, in 2020, so literally just a few years ago, the Bridgeport City Council approved a $5 million loan to begin demolishing the dilapidated, burnt-out building on most of the property. The famous shot tower, though, will remain as a landmark after the city makes a nearly $3 million investment to restore it. It's got a hell of a history here, and that's a good-looking building. Thomas Gill, Bridgeport's Director of Economic Development, told the Connecticut Post in 2021. And it's something that should be preserved. Wow. I agree. It's such a historic landmark. You have to save like some piece of it, right? It says building industry. Women assemble cartridges at the plant, and the factory was closed for good in 1988. Its building sat vacant for 32 years. I don't blame unhoused people for living there, though. I'm sure they probably thought they'd be left alone for a long time. Okay, let's read number 2, St. Elmo, Colorado. So this one takes place in Chaffee, I think, County, Colorado, founded in 1880 and abandoned in 1952. The little caption for the picture says, Closed book. An empty home in the mining ghost town of St. Elmo, which was named after the title of one of the most popular novels in the 19th century. So here it is, St. Elmo. It's a cool looking house. It says, like so many towns in the American West, St. Elmo, Colorado was born during a gold rush and died when the dash for riches came to an end. Settled in 1878, after gold and silver was discovered and prospectors flocked to the area, the town was originally called Forest City, but the U.S. Post Office soon objected because there was already too many towns with that name. That's funny. One of the city's founders, Griffith Evans, was reading the Augusta Jane Evans novel St. Elmo at the time, which was enough inspiration for an alternative name, and it stuck. For years, St. Elmo thrived thanks to nearby gold, silver, copper, and iron mines. It grew quickly after the railroads came through in 1881, and it got even bigger when the Alpine Tunnel, one of the highest railroad tunnels in North America, was built to... I'll go back to the picture, okay? Was built to connect it to towns on the west side of the Continental Divide. Okay, now I'll go back to the picture. This says, nobody home. Old wooden homes line the main street of St. Elmo. People started to leave town after a fire in 1890 destroyed St. Elmo's business district. Wow. I wonder if any movies have been filmed here. Doesn't it look like a movie set? It doesn't even look real, does it? It looks like a movie set. It's in such good condition. I wonder if it's been like preserved or whatever. Like someone takes care of it. Like, look at that picture of the post office. Oh no, it's his office. St. Elmo office and store. Cabins for rent. Wow. Okay, let's keep reading this. St. Elmo had restaurants, town halls, and plenty of saloons. It was downtown. Oh, and it's downtown lit up on Saturday nights with people ready to party. At one point, St. Elmo had a population of 2,000. But the beginning of the end came in 1890 when the fire destroyed the business section of downtown, which was never completely rebuilt. Between the fire and the rapid depletion of the mines, residents began to move elsewhere, and after the Alpine Tunnel was closed in 1910, the families that stayed started to leave too. Trains continued to stop in St. Elmo, but only until 1922. When that ended, the town essentially ceased to exist. Oh, that's sad. Some tried to spark a revival. Roy and Tony Stark, descendants of one of St. Elmo's most elite and famous families, spent years searching for someone to reopen the mines. When that failed, they became tourism brokers, leasing the empty buildings out to vacationing families and continued to operate the general store. By 1934, Tony and his sister Annabelle Stark were the only two residents left in St. Elmo. To visitors, Annabelle became known as Dirty Annie, appearing disheveled and roaming the town in ragged clothes, carrying a rifle for protection. That'd be kind of creepy, right? Because it already seems like a ghost town because no one lives there anymore. The two eventually ended up in a mental health facility. Well, that makes sense. Shortly after the town's official death in 1952, an occasion marked by the closing of the post office. Remarkably, Relatives of the Starks continued to live in the town for years afterwards, and Annie's ghost lingered too, according to local legend. What I say? That says she still patrols the streets. Today, St. Elmo stands as one of the most well preserved ghost towns in the US. In 2002, a fire destroyed several structures, including the town hall, but the general store, church, school, and many private cabins remain. These relics are surrounded by hiking, horse, and ATV trails, which are used by a constant stream of visitors who come to look at what's left of the boom times and to search for the ghost of Dirty Annie. I was going to say, this area looks like people would definitely come here to hunt for ghosts. Look how well preserved it is. That's so nuts. It says ruins of old mines span across a stream near St. Elmo above. So that's what we're looking at right here. And then the Stark Brothers General Store still stands in the town, right next door to the old post office. Wow. That's nuts. Okay. Wow, look at this old picture. This is the one that I said looks like a desert. Holy moly, this number 3. I might be saying this wrong, but rhyolite, Nevada? That sounds like some kind of crystal or like stone, doesn't it? A rhyolite? I don't know if I'm saying it right, guys. Sorry. It says, this gold rush town fell nearly as fast as it rose. So this is Nye County, Nevada, founded in 1904 and abandoned in 1916. So it wasn't around for very long at all. That explains why there's like almost no structures. There's little like bits and pieces. This looks like some kind of store or something. Okay, let's read it. It says, rhyolite emerged out of nowhere in 1904 when 2 prospectors, Frank Shorty Harris and E.L. Cross, found rich deposits of quartz and gold in the Bullfrog Hills about 120 miles northwest of Vegas. At the time, only 1 person resided in the region, but that was about to change. Not long after Harris and Cross made the discovery, prospectors laid more than 2,000 claims within a 30-mile area. Holy crap, that's a lot. A town sprang up near their camps, named Rhyolite for the pink-gray volcanic rock. Yeah, I was right. That could be found everywhere. Buildings and mines popped up too, and money flew in. The biggest excavation, the Montgomery Shoshone mine, was purchased in 1906 by Charles M. Schwab. What? Who invested heavily in the mine and the surrounding area. He outfitted Rhyolite with water mains, electric lights, concrete sidewalks, newspapers, and telephone lines, all within a year. The town built schools, hospitals, an opera house, and a stock exchange as its population grew to 4,000 people by 1907. That's crazy. It all ended in a flash. The panic of 1907, the first worldwide financial crisis of the 20th century, hit Rhyolite hard. Within a few years, mines began to close, banks began to fail, and local businesses started to shut their doors. By 1910, production, even at the biggest mills, had slowed so much that the town's population had dwindled to fewer than 700 people. Wow. On March 14th, 1911, the Montgomery Shoshone mine shut down. So that was like the big one. The remains of the town lasted another 5 years, but by 1916, the lights and the electricity had been turned off for good in the whole town. Today, Rhyolite is run by the Bureau of Land Management and is considered to be one of the most photographed ghost towns in the world. What? I've never even heard of it. Many structures still stand and several have been restored. including the famous bottle house, which was built in 1906 out of old glass bottles by a miner named Tom Kelly. The town had also been used as a setting for the Hollywood movies, including The Reward in 1965 and The Island in 2005. Wow. All that's left of Rhyolite today are about 5 blocks worth of partial and complete structures like that, and here, with a modern art museum located just outside of town. Wow, holy crap. I want to go. Okay, guys, let's read one more because I don't want to read them all in one day, right? We'll do Virginia City, Montana. Location, Madison County, Montana. Founded in 1863 and abandoned in 1875. So another one that wasn't around for very long. The picture says, look-alike locale. The Virginia City Trading Company building was put up in 1948 to promote tourism. It was made to resemble a shoe store that had stood on the site in the 1860s. So it's not original, but it's still old as crap. 1948 was a very long time ago. So even though it's like a replica, it's still extraordinarily old and still standing. This town once boasted one of the richest gold strikes in the Rocky Mountains, discovered at the height of the Civil War. And the combination of the sudden influx of money and the animosities between North and South turned it into one of the most dangerous places in the country. Truly the Wild West. Wow. It all started in 1863 when prospectors Bill Fairweather and Henry Egger discovered gold near Alder Gulch. Gulch? I don't know if I'm saying that right. They were unable to keep the discovery a secret and were eventually followed to the site by hundreds of other fortune seekers. Virginia City was deep in Union territory, but these rivals mostly came from the South, a dynamic that gave rise to tension. To honor their Southern heritage, new residents wanted to name the boomtown after Varnia Howell Davis, the wife of Jefferson Davis, and the First Lady of the Confederate States of America. This is so crazy. So much history. But when they registered the name, the judge in Connecticut, drama, objected and designated a new town name as Virginia City. Despite such issues, the place boomed. Millions of dollars worth of gold was discovered and nearly 10,000 people settled in the area. But since Virginia City was located in a remote section of the Idaho Territory, the town had no formal law enforcement or justice system. So everyone doesn't like each other and there's no police. That's scary. It was monitored only by the miners' courts. That led to lots of crime, obviously, and an alarming number of murders. The infamous Montana vigilantes began policing the city and hanging captured criminals. Yikes, they just took it into their own hands. Still, when the U.S. government officially incorporated the Montana Territory in 1864, Virginia City became the first capital, but by then, the inevitable decline of the place had already begun. Let me go back for the picture. Let me read it. It says, Signs of the Times. A sign in Virginia City displays the old Montana vigilantes coded warning right here. And it says, the facade of an abandoned house hints at the wealth that once flowed through the town. Wow. Yeah, look how fancy. Look how fancy this house is compared to some of the other ones we've already seen. Look at the decoration up here. Wow. And all across here, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a really big, fancy house comparatively. Okay, let's go back. It says, when gold was discovered at Last Chance Gulch in Helena, many residents of Virginia City relocated there. By 1870, only a few hundred people still lived in the former boomtown. And in 1875, Helena was named the new capital of the territory. Even Henry Edgar knew Virginia City's demise was inevitable. That's why he began working with the Montana Historical Society to preserve what was left in 1899. Thanks to his efforts and the money of Charles and Sue Bovey, who bought and restored the town in the 1940s, Virginia City is considered a well preserved ghost town. It's operated as an open air museum with about 237 structures, wow, and signs placed all around town that tell visitors about the history. It was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1961. This says Faded Glory, an antique dredge used to extract gold. Oh, wow. And this is an abandoned railway car in Virginia City. Look at the wood paneling on the sides. That's so crazy. Alright, you guys, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Got my little stack of post-its. Next time we'll read about number 5, Nevada City, Nevada. It says Nevada City never grew as big as its neighbors, but its fall was equally fast. It's pretty fascinating. You'd think I would know all about American history because I'm American, but it's been a while since I took a history class, and there's just so many stories, It's crazy. But thank you guys for watching. If you would like to see more from me, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm sure there's enough to do this magazine maybe 2 or 3 more times, depending on how many stories I read. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more from me. And I also like the idea of doing research myself on abandoned places and bringing those stories to you, doing like a little ASMR story time. So if you want to see that, like a whole new series, I think that would be really fun and a challenge for me, which I appreciate. So let me know in the comments if you like that idea. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.